Hi, afternoon. My name's Emily and welcome to my review and advice channel again this week. It's week 4 this week and I want to talk about getting outside and doing winter exercise. A lot of us are doing it right now and it's January and let's just face it, it's freezing, and especially this week after last week. Last week was 11 degrees every single day. I don't know what was going on, but this week after the storm, it's cold. So take it from me, I'm outdoors all the time. Hopefully I've got some advice that might be useful for you. So let's start with our head. At the end of the day, whether we have hair or not, the skin that's on our head counts for about 7 to 8% of our surface area of skin, so we need to keep it protected. Though it can get very, very hot, because whilst we lose a lot of heat through it, we also need to keep a lot of heat in. So think about the hat that you're going to wear. A lot of hats are quite thin these days for runners. What I'm wearing is potentially a little bit too woolly. You don't necessarily want that because that's a very good insulator, and when we get hot when we're doing exercise, you do need to let some of that heat out. So Adidas Climacool is a really good option. Also a good option are these things called, and I don't know if you've seen them before, but they're called buffs, and they tend to be just a long piece of material. They are tubular. You can pull them over your head. You can then use them to pull up to your mouth, over your nose if you want to, just around the scarf area, or you can pull them all the way back and they can act as kind of a buffer for your head and for your ears. A really good bit of kit to have. I cannot oversell how good this one is. So let's move down. As I said, covering up your neck, I would definitely recommend a buff. Don't even think about a scarf, just too fiddly. Moving on to your layer underneath your jacket. Now, whenever I ask my clients how many layers have you got on, they're always like 1, 2, 3, 4. Does it include my bra? And they usually get up to about 4 or 5 and potentially 6 if it does include your bra. But the one thing I would always recommend that all of my clients put on underneath is one of these. Now, this is a Nike version of a base layer, and they tend to be quite clingy, but that's because you want to keep it nice and close to your skin. At the end of the day, we're trying to keep our organs nice and warm with these guys. But at the end of the day, they are quite tight. They don't necessarily feel like the most flattering thing in the world to wear. But don't worry, you can always put a t-shirt on over the top if you're feeling a little bit self-conscious. But these are really good. Most good sports brands do these, and also good like snow shops or walking shops will also do them. A good top will probably set you back around 20 to 25 quid, and they wash really, really easily and ridiculously quick. Moving on to this layer, you might want to think about actually getting a jacket. Now, this jacket is quite a waterproof jacket, which means it is quite heavy, so I wouldn't do exercise in this. This is if you're just going out and about and you're walking. So you need to get something that's very lightweight, because also you might want to take that off as a layer and then be able to tie it around your waist and then expose your base layer or your t-shirt that you've got on top. So also think about getting something that's just kind of water resistant and also potentially fluorescent. There are a lot of dog walkers out there in parks at the moment at night. Some of the dogs have glow in the dark collars, which are really, really cute, but at the end of the day, they might not be able to see you, you might not be able to see them, so just keep yourself nice and visible. Moving on to our hands. Oh my goodness, if I get cold hands, it's like game over. I suffer unfortunately from Raynaud's disease, which means that I get very, very cold, and it's kind of like an attack, and it can last about half an hour, so my circulation is pretty poor, which is bad for a PT, right? But what I would recommend is have different types of gloves. So you've got gloves that are just like a small base layer. They can go underneath big gloves. You've got gloves like this that aren't necessarily waterproof, but they keep you nice and dry and nice and cool for as long as you're stuck in just kind of a shower. And then you've got gloves also like this, which I would recommend. This is a pair of Oakley gloves that I have, and it's got extra grip on the inside. So whilst it won't last if you're outdoors all day in the wet, it will last for the duration of your workout, and also provide you with good grip should you need to do some pull-ups, use a resistance band, maybe do some tricep dips, some press-ups, or like some burpees and stuff like that. So really, really good for the floor. So then moving on to your bottom layer, and as I said, most clients are wearing anywhere between 4 and 5 different layers, but on our legs we tend to be just wearing the one. I have had a couple of clients that have managed to squeeze on 2 pairs of leggings, but by the end of it I'm finding it very difficult to breathe. So I would recommend a pair of leggings or a pair of track pants. At the end of the day, in the winter, we don't need to expose our skin. We have some great breathable fabrics out there that will allow the actual moisture to stay close to the skin, but also allow for air circulation. So track pants are a really good one if you're going to be out for quite a while. because they have that layer in between and can keep you nice and warm. Leggings are good because they allow for compression and keep the blood circulating, and also have nice high waistbands. But leggings, you know, not everybody likes leggings, but I recommend something like that. Polyester is a very good man-made fibre for these types of things. Nylon is also good. It has aerating qualities, and it also tends to absorb less smell. So if you need to go somewhere afterwards, nylon is your option. Wool, forget it. I mean, brilliant for a coat if you're going to put on a coat afterwards so that those cold sweats don't set in, but wool, just forget it. So moving on, feet. Now, if I get wet feet, it's also game over. Last week I went through 3 pairs of trainers in one day, even though I had my winter wear trainers on, unfortunately, and I had to change to my Wellington boots at the end of the day. But as I said, I'm outdoors all day, every day, and not every day is like this. So what would I recommend? I'd recommend a winter training shoe. And winter training shoes, what's the difference? They tend to be more sturdy, they tend to have more leather, but they are quite synthetic, so they do still breathe. They have better lace-up techniques. The tongues tend to be actually part of the shoe to not allow water and mud to go into them. A lot of them tend to have Velcro, so you've got the extra fastening should you find yourself in mud or in slush or in snow, so that your shoe doesn't necessarily get sucked off the bottom of your foot. And a lot of them tend to have extra, what are called lugs. So we have grip on the bottom of our shoes, but lugs are the extra bits that go on the outside of the shoe, on the sole, and that again stops so much suction from happening when you end up in mud or in slush. So that's what I'd recommend. I'd also recommend bringing along, as I said, a coat for after a boot camp. So if you've got somewhere to store it, that's perfect. If you don't worry about it, you've just got to run home. So the last thing I'd like to say is the one thing that we all don't think about is our skin. Our skin is exposed day in, day out, and even in the winter, it's really important. So when people go skiing, you know, they're always getting their sunscreen on and on their nose, or some people come back with panda eyes. It's so important as well when you're doing outdoor exercise, even in this country, because what we have is something called temperature inversion, which means that the hot air is being trapped by the cold air down here in the winter, which means that free radicals, which are in pollution, are being trapped closer to the surface, which means that when the sun is out, we are soaking all of that up. So make sure you're looking after your skin by applying an SPF all of the time, even if it's cloudy, because it will really, really help. And when you get home, make sure you have a nice hot shower with some very nice shower gel that has moisturizing qualities, and also thinking about where you're going to put the lotion on afterwards, hands and face, you know, anything that's been exposed outside to that cold air. But otherwise, exercising outdoors is an absolute dream, and I'm sure lots of you are going to be doing it in the next coming months. All I can say is enjoy. It's why I do what I do. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.